So unless you have been living under a literal rock for the last 24 hours roughly, you would have noticed that basically UFC 294 got flipped on its head completely. And we've got two new matchups and they are crazy. Obviously, as we can see on the screen right now, we've got Kamaru Usman versus Khamzat Chimaev. You probably already saw that about 10 hours ago. It was rumoured, we kind of knew it was probably going to happen, either that or Jared Cannonier. And obviously the main event, Alexander Volkanovski versus Islam Makhachev, who is the reigning lightweight champion. And first of all, amazing by Dana White. He's basically made the card stronger. And yeah, I'm going to give my detailed predictions. We're going to be doing a really deep dive. I want to get these right. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this. The cards got even better. Wasn't too interested in Khamzat versus Paolo. I didn't really see that one. I didn't really kind of believe that one needed to happen. And I did actually predict in my original video on that that fight would never happen. And surprise, surprise, Paulo Costa has pulled out. So yeah. Anyway, I'm a Tizer. Let's get right into this prediction video, starting off with the co-main event of the evening, the improved co-main, Kamaru Usman versus Chimaev, Khamzat Chimaev. Now, let's just compare stats here for a second. Usman, 36, Chimaev, 29. He's 7 years younger. Yeah, literally 7 years younger. Obviously, Chimaev has fought a middleweight before. Usman has never fought a middleweight, but he has toyed with the idea. We've heard it in interviews. He said, oh, I want to go up to middleweight, blah, 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 light heavyweight. So, he's been thinking about this clearly for a while. However, he kind of didn't. I don't think he really knew what he was doing. I think he thought he might be fighting Bilal Muhammad. So obviously he wanted to stay in welterweight there. So we might be seeing a bit of a size disparity here. He is the shorter fighter by 2 inches. Chimaev is 6'2", and he actually is like a big 6'2". He's tall. So Chimaev is going to be the bigger person in there. However, Usman is a bigger welterweight. He's one of the bigger welterweights. It's not going to be like Burns and Chimaev. Burns is a lightweight, doesn't belong in well, he kind of does now, but he's not a big welterweight by any means. Usman, large, physically imposing, and he has good enough cardio. This is a 3-round fight, I believe. Yeah, Usman's cardio here, it's not going to be a problem. He has really good cardio, and 3 rounds at a more natural weight class, he'll be fine. There's no concerns there. Reach wise, 76 versus 75 inch, so obviously that's very minimal. It will have virtually no effect in the fight. And yeah, so obviously noticed that Khamzat is now fighting out of the UAE. He's moved. I think he lives in Dubai permanently now. Left Sweden. I don't actually know if he's brought his camp with him. I have no idea how that works, if he's got new partners. No idea. However, who do I think wins this fight? Well, we've got to factor a few things. We're going to have to look at striking. We're going to have to look at we're going to have to look at like fight IQ, game plan, and we're going to have to look at grappling. I want to look at grappling first, because Usman, when he's the way I look at this, right, is Usman is very, very good when he's the hammer and he's fighting the nail, So he's quite good at that. However, he's not so good when he can't impose his style, because Usman's style is quite decision orientated. I know he has finishes, but we've got to look at it and be honest. He kind of goes for the decision, okay? He's not going to try and like ground and pound you to a stoppage. He's not going to try and take your back. He literally avoids back takes, which I find quite surprising. Even when they're presented to him, he'd rather just stay safe. So really shows to me he's fine with decision wins. He doesn't care about finishes and stuff like that as much. So he likes that style of fairly relentless pressure. He relies on his good cardio. He's got very good takedowns, and the only thing I notice of Usman is he doesn't do a lot. Okay, he'll take you down, he'll win. Okay, he doesn't hurt you. There's no submission threat when you go against Usman. In some ways, you're actually having an advantage, because you can do crazy sprawls, because he's never going to sub you. Like, you can literally give your back up, and he won't. Like, if you give your back up, he'll just hold you on your back, because he's that unbothered about it, which is really interesting. Very strange, considering I think he's actually got like okay jiu-jitsu, so I don't really know what's going on there. Meanwhile, on the other side, Chimaev, this guy's grappling is insane. He has like probably top two offensive grappling in the UFC right now. Obviously, the other one being Makachev. The only difference I'd say is that Chimaev's grappling, I guess you could say it has never not worked. However, Gilbert Burns, although he got taken down basically at will, and he never really stuffed any takedowns, Chimaev couldn't be bothered with the guard pulling, and he didn't really want to go in full guard against Burns, which is understandable because Burns has got very good BJJ credentials. However, we know that if Chimaev gets Usman in that position, it's not a worry for him, okay? Usman, very, like I said, very, very anti-submission. He just doesn't go for them. It's so strange. Maybe this will be the fight we change, but I can only base this off not, I think, what might happen, what evidence would suggest would happen, and evidence suggests there will be no arm bars. There will be no triangles. There will be no Kamaru's from full guard. You know what I mean? He'll be very reserved, and if this ends up, Chimaev will be fine in full guard, and he'll be able to land ground and pound and try and pass to maybe a better position, try and get top mount, stuff like that. However, going back to my point of the hammer and the nail thing for Usman, Usman, the last time he was the nail, he was the nail for a fair amount of the third fight against Leon, but it was fairly close, okay? Close fight, but Leon won, okay? The second fight, Usman in the first round was very much the nail, okay? He had a good start because Leon slipped. However, Leon had a very good end, basically second half of the first round, and he took Usman down off a trip into top mount, and Usman gave his back up, okay? Leon was fighting hands for a rear naked. It was never nearly in or anything like that, but, you know, maybe 2 more minutes, 1 more minute, and he might have found it. But my point is, Leon had a body triangle and his back, obviously. And I just feel like if Leon Edwards is getting your back, it's just not a good look, is it, when you're going against a grappler who's bigger and stronger and far more aggressive than Chimaev. And having said that, you know, obviously Edwards' trip was really advanced. Definitely caught Usman off guard. I knew he wasn't expecting that. And you know what you're getting with Chimaev. You know he's going to be aggressive right out of the gate. But yeah, so that's not a good look. So grappling-wise, you can't really go with Usman. And is his clinch work good? You know, yes, he can hold people up against the cage, which I guess against Chimaev might actually be good because a decision seems pretty fair. Fair way for him to go about the win. And also, he can maybe tire Chimaev out, lean on him on the cage. You know, he's a big dude. He's going to get tired if Usman can just keep him against the cage. Because, you know, offensive grappling, if they just have, like, loads of sprawls and stuff, Chimaev's going to win, okay? He's the better wrestler. He's younger. Usman has dodgy knees. He has really injured knees, so from all the wrestling and stuff. And just not looking after his body properly earlier in his career. So there's that. And yeah, I've got to give the grappling edge to Chimaev here. However, Usman's good, but when he's on the ground, like when he's taken down, he's in a bad place because he's not very good off his back and he has no submission threat. So for Chimaev, he can go all offense with no risk because with Gilbert, there's a risk. Or if I pass, I might get caught in something. However, Usman, little to no risk in comparison. We move on to striking. This one's a bit more different, okay? Usman's striking is fairly good. If I had to rate out of 10, like, you know, 10 being like Pereira level, I'd give it maybe like a 7, okay? I think his boxing is pretty good. You know, he's improved his jab. He used to have a terrible jab, he improved it. He's got pretty underrated head movement. And the techniques are there, and he doesn't kick a lot. He hasn't got a very good kickboxing style, and leg kicks seem to bother him. But I don't mean he's gonna have to worry about that too much. Chimaev does throw them, but Leon throws them a lot, and also Leon's kind of mixes them in a bit. Chimaev just straight up throws them. They're quite telegraphed. I don't think Usman will have a problem avoiding them or just checking them, but we'll see. Chimaev, we haven't seen enough of Chimaev. You know, Chimaev hasn't fought in. His last opponent was Kevin Holland. That was UFC 279, I think. That was 15 cards ago, which is crazy. So we haven't seen him in so long, and he's definitely improved. And last time out, we saw no striking. He just immediately shot the takedown. Time before that, Obviously Gilbert Burns. So against Gilbert, he looked very good in the first. He was definitely the better striker. And then he kind of got a bit sloppy. He kind of tired, he gassed, and he basically went, you know what, let's have a massive war. And they traded, and Hamza looked very weak in moments. He almost got finished in round two. He got dropped really badly. So, yeah, Chimaev is not invincible. A lot of people kind of forget that he, nearly did get finished by Gilbert Burns, who is a former lightweight. So there were a few question marks there, but I'm not Khamzat Chimaev's biggest fan, but I am going to put that down to the fact that I think if he stuck to his technique, he would have finished Gilbert, and he basically messed it up because he didn't really listen to his coach, and he just played into what Gilbert and the crowd wanted, which was a massive war. Whereas he could have probably easily finished him if he played his cards better. So yeah, Chimaev, he's got probably more power than Usman. He's also got a good chin, fairly good, like very good chin. Usman's chin has question marks ever since he got knocked out. Before that, it was very, very solid. However, he did get wobbled by a knee that Edwards threw in the third. In the trilogy, I mean, not in the third round. I don't know what round it was in. I can't remember. And he got hurt a few times by an elbow, and you could tell they were like, basically, he was like, yeah, hang on, I need to slow down. So there's that. So for striking, it's a weird one. I think Chimaev is probably better on the feet. However, Usman's got a better jab, I think. And because, Burns was landing his jab and Usman out jab Burns. So that's the logic I'm going off there. And Usman's bigger than Burns. He is. He's more physically imposing. He's stronger. And also he's got better cardio than Burns. So he's going to have better cardio than Chimaev. Like, that's the bottom line. Chimaev's cardio isn't amazing. It's not terrible, but it's not amazing either. He had a very high output in the Burns fight. And in his other fights, he doesn't really slow down at all. Usually because they're very low effort for him, or very short, or both. So, yeah, again, we don't have a whole lot of useful data with Chimaev because his longest, most data-rich fight, you can kind of argue it's not very valid data because he kind of threw out everything he'd do in a proper fight. Again, like, it's unlikely he's going to go and just be like, me and Usman are going to have a war. I just can't imagine him doing that. Obviously, I'm pretty sure the winner here, Dana White confirmed, they are going to get a title shot. So, I can't see Chimaev pulling any crazy stuff and like throwing a win away. So that's just making me, the pick for me, it's Chimaev, okay? I'm going with Chimaev to win. However, Usman's good. He's still good. He's not as good as he used to be. If it was Usman pre-head kick, I'd probably, this would be very, very close. At 170 as well, you might want to take Usman. We know he can make it. Chimaev nearly dies to get to 170, so you might be like, oh, he's going to be very weak in there and have no cardio, very drained. But Usman, I don't think I can pick him. He's on a 2-fight losing streak. One of them's a vicious knockout, and granted, he's took time, recovered, came back, didn't take a large amount of damage in the second fight, and in training he's looking sharp. He's looking good. I'm sure Trevor Whitman will have been working on some stuff, and Trevor's a great coach. They know what they're getting themselves into here. They're going to have a very Chimaev's offensive. He's going to be the one walking forward. And another issue with Usman is he's not entirely good on the back foot. Okay, he likes, like I said, being the hammer, and so does Chimaev. So it's two hammers, and one of them's going to end up the nail. And I really do think Usman's going to be the nail in the first round. And he basically needs to either get comfortable with being the nail and try and gas Chimaev out, or completely ignore the fact that you're going to be made the nail and literally try and make Chimaev the nail. So we'll see. But the key to victory for Usman is probably the jab in the first and stuffing takedowns just to tire Chimaev, putting your weight on him, holding him up against the fence, knees, stomps to the feet, stuff like that. I'm sure he's going to have a good game plan. Trevor Whitman always comes prepared. He does listen to Whitman a lot. So, we know he's not going to throw the fight. However, it's not looking good for Usman on other levels. There's question marks surrounding if he's going to be even worse than he was in his last fight. Obviously, it's at middleweight. This is his first fight at middleweight. Is he going to be slower, better? Like, we don't know how he's going to react. I do imagine we're probably going to see a very powerful Usman. Usman's a really big dude. Like, he's very strong. So I think he's gonna be very, very, like, he's just gonna look massive on weigh-in day. He's gonna look wham. So yeah, I think it's gonna be really good. Who is the pick? Well, the pick is Chimaev, and unfortunately, I think Chimaev is going to be able to win the grappling. And the bottom line is that, like I said, Usman's not good when he's the one losing the fight, So I am really kind of worried that Usman might get finished. However, Usman has a chance. He's pretty live as an underdog. One method of basically one of Usman's path to victories is, one, make it boring as possible, which is unlikely what he's probably going to try and do. And secondly, if he can keep this into a striking exchange, which is pretty, he might win, because he's got a good jab, stick behind the jab, and he's probably the more technical of the two, but he just lacks the physicality and power that Chimaev does. So, if he can make this as neat as possible, he can probably get a decision win. Or ideally, if it gets really scrappy and Usman's got the tighter, the cleaner punches, the better head movement, we could be looking at an Usman KO. However, I think that's the more unlikely option, and I'm thinking the more likely option is Khamzat wins, and he probably gets a ground and... I don't know, I feel like he's going to drop Usman and just ground and pound finish him against the side of the cage. That's what I'm thinking. Younger, stronger, bigger, similar stand-up, not in style, but similar in skill, I'd argue, maybe. Power advantage for Chimaev, chin for Chimaev, I'd say. Usman does have the cardio, I still think he does. He also has the experience. Usman's undoubtedly the best person he's ever fought, dominant world champion for many years. And Usman isn't going to give up. He's not going to roll over and just let Chimaev steamroll him. This isn't going to be like... he won't give up. Even if he loses the first round, he will come out trying to win the fight. And but anyway, I can't wait for it. I hope you guys enjoyed this prediction. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next prediction video. See ya.